By what Satan tells me, I'm a child of God.
Amen.
Even though what I tell myself sometimes, I'm still a child of God.
Amen.
Even when somebody tells me something, I'm still a child of God. Even when I feel bad and I fall on my face, I'm still a child of God.
Amen. Amen.
Because positionally, God sees me as holy.
I've been asked to give you a Black History Minute or so. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, a little place called Kinloch. To me, it was just home. But what it was Missouri's first black city. You can find it in my family. A lot of my family members are in here. You can find this at Amazon. My second hometown or home state is North Carolina. When I was involved with a theater troupe, we were doing research for a play, and we were looking into Black history facts in North Carolina. And there was just one book, and I can't remember the title of it, but this book proclaimed that North Carolina was the most progressive state during slavery, which means it was better than the other. Well, slavery is not going to be good no matter how you look at it. But it was better to be here in North Carolina than it was to be in Mississippi or Louisiana. And what I found, and I know you North Carolina natives already know this, so I'm just kind of refreshing. And I was looking at some of the history markers here in this state. It's called History on a Stick. Okay, there's a website, NorthCarolinaMarkers.com. Here in Cumberland County, there's one historical fact. Henry Evans was a free black cobbler and minister. And without his efforts, the Methodist Church would not be in Fayetteville. And he's buried today in Evans Metropolitan AME Zion Church. In Orange County, those of you who love jazz, there's a marker for Billy Strayhorn, who wrote Take the A Train and other songs for Duke Ellington. Now, I know some of you young people have no clue what that is, but there are some of us who, that was our music. In Duplin County, E.E. Smith, and I know you know that name from here in Fayetteville, 40 years president of the State Colored Normal School, which turned out to be Fayetteville State University. He was also a U.S. minister to Liberia from 1888 to 1890. In Edenton, Harriet Jacobs, there's a marker for her. This woman hid in her grandmother's attic for 7 years before she escaped north and became an abolitionist. In Dare County, Richard Etheridge was the first African-American commander of the all-black Pea Island Life-Saving Station. The wife and I, we went to the Outer Banks not too long ago, and we were at that station. We went to some of the lighthouses and all that kind of stuff. Had no clue at the time the rich black history that was there. Also in the Outer Banks, we found the Freedmen's Colony. We didn't get to go to it, but we know where it is, and the next time we go, that's where we're going. In 1862, when the word of Union victory over Confederate forces at Roanoke Island began to spread to the interior of the state, thousands of refugee and runaway slaves flocked to this island, Roanoke. General Ambrose Burnside, touched by the hard-working attitude of the former slaves, created the Freedmen's Colony on that island. And for 4 short years, during and after the war, Roanoke Island was the site, well, we know it's the site of the first English settlement, in the New World, but it became the site of the largest settlement of freed slaves in the South. Nearly 3,000 homes, schools, businesses sprung up, and in 1863, when Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, the population of the colony swelled to nearly 3,000. In June of 1863, the Union commander mustered the first black regiment of Union troops and transferred them to South Carolina for active duty. So I don't want to take up a whole bunch of time because I know Sister ready to give the word. But back in the day, I used to spend a lot of time in New Bern. I had no idea that in New Bern, that before the Emancipation Proclamation, the Union Army, again under General Burnside, faced with a growing problem how to feed, clothe, and house ever-growing population of black slaves. And to further complicate the matter, there were many whites who were unable to feed themselves as the war disrupted the local economy. To address this problem, Burnside appointed Vincent Collier as superintendent of the poor and federally occupied areas in North Carolina. The free slaves were immediately put to work by General Burnside building fortifications in New Bern and other coastal areas that were under control of Union forces. One of the places that they built was Fort Totten. Fort Totten still exists today. It's one of the sites that you can see when you go to New Bern. And it's still, if you read this in your time, you can still go there and see a very large African-American presence in that area. And Fort Totten is one of the sites that you want to see. I've found a plethora of stuff, but I know this is not the platform to share with you. But like I said, you can go online and find out all of those historical markers, and I think you'll be amazed at the history of North Carolina contributed by black Americans.